Welcome into another edition of That's Deep. I'm Tommy Z, joined as always by Johnny Bravo. We had a long 6-week break. Felt long, but it kind of flew by at the same time. It was nice to not have to break down fights for a few weeks. But we're back. We're on Paramount now, so that's going to be interesting to see what that looks like. Got on a couple shows with you guys during the football season, but haven't been on a lot. So it's good to be back. Johnny, how you feeling coming into this one?
Feeling good. The break was good, refreshing. Got to kind of just let the mind rest, watch some NFL football, some playoffs, and now we're back at it. Coming to Paramount, we got two banger cards, two numbered cards to start it off with, and yeah, this is a pretty good card. We missed the Kayla Amanda fight, which I was looking forward to, but overall, still a good card, and yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. I'm curious to see where you're at on a lot of these fights. It's a very chalky card, but I do feel like there are some dogs that are gonna pop up. So hopefully we're on the same page with a lot of these. We're gonna do a little bit different. At the end of the show, we're gonna do a little DFS breakdown, kind of give our core 3 or 4 fighters, and then we're gonna try to put together a little, maybe 2 or 3 leg parlay. Just kind of a show parlay, see what we get. But with all that said, let's jump right into it here. Our first fight of the night, if I can remember how to operate this stuff. We've got Adam Fugit taking on Ty Miller, making his UFC debut. Welterweight fight. Fugit, a guy that's been around a few years now. He's kind of been hit or miss. He's win, loss, or loss, win so far in the UFC. Coming off a loss. So, maybe it's time for him to get another win. But taking on Ty Miller, we saw him on the Contender Series. Pretty solid fight, pretty good output. But still, 6-0. A lot of unknown with him. Minus 450, I think, last time I saw, which is kind of wild. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, Ty Miller, he looks like a pretty good prospect from what I see from the tape, what we've seen on the Contender, really good boxing, really good striking. He's fast, good volume. Cardio checks out. He's fought some tough fighters on the regional scene before coming to the UFC. He has a win over Eric Nolan, who's also in the UFC. And yeah, the boxing is really clean. I like his striking, and the one negative about him is kind of his takedown defense. He can get taken down, but he can usually work his way back up. But somebody with some heavy top control could probably control him down there. But he's a pretty long and big guy, and long legs, so he can get in, push out, and get back up to his feet. But yeah, he's a good striker, and he has some potential. And Fugit is kind of just another guy. Kind of just a warm body on the roster. They feed him to guys like Morales and fucking Dulatov and Mike Malott. He's kind of like the guy they kind of feed the guys. But he does have some skills. He's got some wins on his record in the UFC. He's kind of a junkyard dog. Don't really know what he's really good at, and but like the striking is like mid, not very good. The defense is not very good. He takes a lot of damage. He can grapple, but he's not the greatest at it, So I don't know. I just think on the feet, he's just going to probably just get worked. And the thing for me is deciding whether Miller knocks him out, or Fugit's pretty tough, but he has been finished. But whether Miller can find that kill shot, I'm not sure. The pick is Ty Miller, but I'm not sure how I plan to attack this. And it's minus 480. So it's like you can't really put the money line in a parlay. It really doesn't add much value. So it's like you got to pick the knockout or decision, and I'm not quite sure where I stand with that yet.
Yeah, I like Miller too. I think he wins. I think if you're going to bet it, I probably would bet the knockout because he does have good 1-2s down the middle. And like you said, Fugit does get hit quite a bit. He's got a solid base of skills. His striking is pretty good. His kicks are good. But he does take a lot of damage. So that's a problem. And a guy that is going to throw those 1-2s down the middle, that's long. We could see a knockout here. And Fugit, we just saw him get knocked out recently, so never a good sign. But like I said, he's on a rotating schedule of wins and losses, so he's due for a win. We'll see if that continues. But yeah, I got to go Miller here. Don't like putting too much into a debuting fighter, especially a guy that's 6-0. So Miller's the pick. If I did bet it, it would be by knockout. But I don't know. I'll probably just sit back.
Maybe like a 2-3 knockout might be a decent one.
I mean, it probably would be later in the fight, I would think. So yeah, that's probably not a bad way to look at it. Because Fugit got knocked out by Morales in his debut late in the third round. I had Morales by knockout there and just barely squeaked that one out. So, Fugit's pretty tough. He's gone, almost the distance with a guy that's right up there from title contention right now. So fight wasn't super competitive, but you give him credit for toughness. But while you pull that up, I'll get into the other fight here. Next fight on the card, always interesting. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, yeah, that's not up yet. The
okay.
2-3 KO. Yeah.
We got Ricky Turcios, who is always entertaining. There's always something weird about his fights. Taking on Cameron Smotherman, kid that I had a lot of. I liked him coming into the UFC. I think he's still got some upside. He's very talented, but he's had some lackluster performances. Taking on Turcios here, he hasn't really had the greatest run in the UFC. He's got really good scrambles. When he does strike, he puts out a decent output, but we've seen fights where he hardly strikes at all too. So interesting one. Don't know really how these two are going to fight. I would expect Turcios to come out kind of aggressive like he did in his last fight. He's kind of probably a loss or two away from being cut from the roster. So he's probably going to want to make a statement here. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this was probably my least interested fight on the card. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of two guys that are just I'm kind of not really high on. I mean, Cameron Smotherman, I mean, he's a good boxer, good striking, but he's just kind of like sometimes he can just be kind of low volume and not really throw. And I question his chin. I mean, he's been touched on the chin before, so that's always a question mark with him. But the boxing when he throws, the boxing is pretty clean and crisp. He can be taken down though. Takedown defense is not the greatest. He has no offensive wrestling of his own, really. So, yeah, I mean, he's really good boxing, but you really don't know what you're going to get from him. It's just low volume sometimes, and, yeah, you just don't know. And Ricky Turcios is kind of a guy, like, you had high hopes on this guy coming into the UFC, went through the Ultimate Fighter House. He looked pretty good in there, and then he gets into the UFC, and he's just, like, I don't know. Like, he's got good cardio. He pushes the pace, but – sometimes he throws a lot of like empty volume where he's just punching at the air. Like, the Aiden Zahabi fight, he like threw 500 punches, but only landed like 20. So,
right.
Yeah, that was a rough look. And just like other times, he can be taken down, but like you said, he does have good scrambles and good at getting getting back up to the feet, but yeah, I mean, if he can get in range and land some volume and, where I think, he could have some success if he goes. He has some wrestling if he wants to pull it out. I think he could get takedowns if he really wanted to, and that's one of Smotherman's weaknesses. Yeah, I'm not high on this fight. Not excited for it, but I got to pick. I got to go with Turcios as a dog. I guess I don't really want to lay -195 on Smotherman. So yeah, the dog shot here on Turcios is probably where I would look if I bet it.
I was kind of leaning Turcios here as well, just because you can't really expect Smotherman to come out and, throw a lot of volume. He really hasn't. In the Jake Hadley fight, he did. He looked really good. But other than that, he's relatively low volume. The boxing's good. Overall, he's solid. Like you said, he can be taken down. He's been taken down a ton in the UFC. So, yeah, that's a path. I just expect this fight to be middling to low volume and kind of a lot of back and forth. I don't really think Smotherman is a huge power threat. Either one of these guys can be cracked, but yeah, I think it's going to be close. And I don't mind the dog shot here on Turcios myself. All right, that moves us to one of Johnny's favorite fighters here, one of the best promos in the game. We got Josh Hokett taking on Denzel Freeman. Heavyweight bout, two guys that we don't know a whole lot about yet. Freeman had a pretty lackluster debut. We all expected him to come in and wrestle. I don't even know if, I think he might have shot one takedown in his debut, but, didn't really do a whole lot of it. And he's actually said he doesn't like to wrestle much in MMA fights because he gets tired. So don't like that. But Hokett, he's shown he's got some power. He's got some finishing ability, and, he cuts a promo. Whether you want to call it good or bad, I don't know, but he's an interesting dude. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, it's just kind of an interesting kind of low-level heavyweight kind of clown show. I mean, Freeman, he came in and, I really wasn't expecting much from him just because from the tape he looked kind of mid. And, he's got, some pretty good striking. He's got decent pop in his hands. He can wrestle. He kind of came up wrestling, but like you said, he doesn't really use it that much because he probably gets tired. It's like the striking is good, but he's like could be kind of low volume, And if he wrestled like he showed in the where he beat Big Boy, what's that boy Aslan? He took him down, went to the back, and choked him out, pretty easily, So, the takedown defense is good, and he's I don't know what to make of this guy. It's a lot of unknowns, like you said, and we got Hokett, the big loud cringe. The loudmouth cringe guy who says fucking way out shit and just kind of just makes you cringe, but he's got some skills in there, he's got really fast hands, he's got good boxing, he's got good wrestling himself. It's just can his cardio hold up if he gets extended? I don't know. That's another thing. I think Freeman probably has a better cardio, but there's a lot of just unknowns here. And if Hokett is shooting takedowns, kind of like in his Contender Series fight where he really didn't have too much success in getting the takedowns early there or finding the finish, and he kind of got a little tired. And then the other guy he was fighting just had absolutely nothing left and just got smashed. So that would be my worry here if Hokett faces some resistance in the wrestling and kind of gets extended and kind of gets tired, where we've seen Freeman go 3 hard rounds and still be there. So, yeah, but Hokett's got some good fast hands. I don't know. This is a tough one for me, but I think Hokett probably gets the job done here. I didn't like Freeman's last showing. It was just really discouraging. So, yeah, I'm going to have to ride with Hokett here, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Hokett probably...
I don't know if he finishes them, though. I don't know. Freeman's pretty tough.
Yes.
So I don't know if he finishes them. So that's another thing.
Yeah, if this fight gets extended, we've seen with these heavyweight fights, it looks like we're going to get a knockout early, and then it goes all 3 rounds. So this could definitely be a fight like that. Really, to me, when it comes down to it, I feel like Hokett's got a little bit more fight, a little bit more of a fighter's heart. And that might just be enough to get the job done. So I'm going to go with Hokett here as well. Tough to be overly confident with either guy, but Hokett's, I just feel like he's just got enough. He's got enough of the wrestling. He's got quick hands, good power. Yeah, I think he pulls it out. All right, moving right along here to a pretty interesting fight, I think. We got Michael Johnson taking on Alexander Hernandez, lightweight bout. We all wrote Michael Johnson off quite a while ago, and he's had a bit of a resurgence. And we kind of wrote Alexander Hernandez off as well. He had some pretty bad performances, but he's kind of bounced back, and he's had a nice little win streak himself. So we got two guys that, Michael Johnson obviously getting real close to 40. And, Hernandez, he's still relatively young, but, fight years, he's taken a lot of damage. So he's been around a while. I feel like he's sort of like an aging fighter himself. But, two guys on a hot streak here. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is kind of like two flaky guys that had skills and you couldn't really trust, and they're both on a fucking nice little run here, which is interesting. Hernandez, he came in with all the hype. He starched Beneil Dariush, and he came in with all the hype and just really didn't like live up to expectations or perform. And it was kind of like, he had all the skills and all the abilities, but then he would kind of get dragged into the later rounds of the fight, like where if he didn't get a finish like early or bank the first 2 rounds, he was probably cooked because the cardio was just so bad after like the first 7 minutes. So that was one of his problems, and he seems to have kind of worked that out in his last couple of fights, improved his cardio. And he's looked really good. He's got all the skills. Good boxing, good striking. Decent wrestling. If he doesn't really use the wrestling very much, but I mean he can go to it. But yeah, I mean he's on a run right now, and the same as Michael Johnson. We all thought Michael Johnson was absolutely cooked. He got absolutely starched by Diego Ferreira, and we thought, okay, this guy is he's done. But he had some pretty impressive performances. The Zellhuber fight was. I mean, Zellhuber was like a -700 favorite, and he came in there and Zellhuber barely threw a punch. So that's another thing that was just a terrible performance from him. But, Johnson did what he needed to do. He dropped him in that fight. He looked good, But like you said, he's 39 years old. It's like, man, this is a hard one because it's like, what guy is going to flake on you here, because it's but I'm going to lean with the younger guy. I'm going to go with Hernandez here to be able to outlast Johnson and maybe even touch his chin, and maybe put him away. We've seen Hernandez show some real good pop in his hands lately, and I think Johnson could be vulnerable there. So, yeah, I like Hernandez here.
Yeah, this is another one where I was pretty, basically everything you said, same way. Like, you can't trust these guys. They both snatched defeat from the jaws of victory multiple times. I mean, Michael Johnson, we've seen it time and time again. He's dominating a fight. I mean, even that Diego Ferreira fight, he was
winning that fight. Yeah. Until he wasn't.
He got crushed.
I bet him in that fight, I think, and I was like, oh man, Johnson's looking good. And
yeah, I was on Ferreira, and I was just like, damn, really? Like I was pissed. Yeah. And then out of nowhere, it's just crazy knockout. But, I mean, I feel like you can get that with both guys here. I think, on the feet, I think Michael Johnson can do a lot of good work. He's much faster. He's much more technical. But Hernandez does have that equalizer, and we've seen it recently. He's landed, a couple knockouts, and he's got big power. We've seen it in his whole career. We've seen the power.
Yeah.
So my thing, I lean Johnson here just because I feel like I like Johnson as a dog. He's not a bad bet. Kind of like that Neil Magny type fighter at this point. But I kind of like this as a live spot too. Like, especially if you're on Hernandez, because I feel like Johnson could come out and have a great first round, piece him up, land 25, 30 shots and, look like $1 million and flip the odds. But, Hernandez, if he does what he's done recently, where the cardio checks out and, he's got a little bit of heart late in fights, he could easily drop that first round and come back and get a win. So I'm going to go with Johnson here as the dog, but I'm going to be looking at this one from a live perspective because I definitely think late in this fight, Johnson could get caught and that could be that. So, all right. So we're split on that one, but we're kind of on similar page there. But all right, moving on to our next fight. Another pretty interesting one here. We got Alex Perez taking on Charles Johnson. Perez, this kid is another one that, he's looked great in fights. He's fought all the best guys. Got a good amount of losses on the recent record, but again, he's fighting top guys. His last fight, I think we're both on him. He was looking great, and then he got caught in the guillotine.
I was on Almobayev.
What's that?
I was on Almobayev.
You were on Almabayev? Oh, in the fight. Oh, you were on
Yeah,
Almabayev. Oh,
yeah,
I was on Perez, and
yeah.
I felt great about it, and then it fell through. But and we got Charles Johnson, who is the last guy to beat the current champ. So he's been another one of those guys that is kind of tough to get a read on, but for the most part, he does find ways to win. He's another guy that kind of starts slow and then picks it up late. That's what we saw in the Josh Van fight. Josh Van was looking like $1 million in that one, and then Charles Johnson just kept the pressure on and got the knockout. So interesting here. You got a guy in Perez who's fought all the top guys, doesn't have a lot of success against the top guys, but he's got a lot of skill taking on Charles Johnson here, who's going to be the much bigger guy, and is a bit of a. You never really know what you're going to get with him, but at the end of the fight he's going to be pushing a pace. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, Alex Perez, all the potential, and injuries kind of just derailed his kind of career, just all these injuries, he had, and take all the time off and then, blowing out his knee against Tyra. It's just, just a bad run for the guy. He fought for the title on short notice, got absolutely, got destroyed in that fight, and just never really was on a tough run, could never really find his footing. I mean, he's fighting all the tough guys, and he always looks good early. I mean, that first round, he always seems to come out early and then just kind of like he'll make a mistake, because his submission defense is absolutely terrible. So if one of these guys, if they get into one of those positions, he pretty much his neck is there to be had. You know what I mean? But he's got all the skills. He's a good striker. He's fast. Good cardio. And it's just like you never know with this guy what's going to happen. He's going to do something dumb, stick his head in a submission, blow out his knee. He's just not trustworthy. And Charles Johnson is a guy I was high on him when he came in, and then kind of had some disappointing performances, and then like kind of hit or miss. But then he's kind of on a nice little run right now. He absolutely knocked Josh Van out. I thought he was losing that fight. But then he found the big shot and was able to put him away. And yeah, he's like you said, he's a builder. So he starts slow and then he works his way into fights, and really good cardio. I'd like to see him in a 5-round fight to kind of see where he would go with that. But yeah, I mean, he builds in the fight. He gets better in the second and third rounds, and I think this is a good live betting opportunity where there's some juice right now on Johnson, but Perez comes out and has a good first round, and you could probably get Johnson after round one, maybe at a pick'em or maybe some plus money, Yeah, I like Johnson. I don't know if he finishes him. I mean, he's shown some power in his hands, it's like, and then the submission number on him is like worse than the knockout number, which is kind of like, I mean, I don't really think Charles Johnson is kind of a submission artist. But I mean, Perez's defense is just so bad. So maybe he gets on his back and chokes him out. But yeah, I like Johnson here. Maybe a good live betting spot. But yeah, I like Johnson to get the job done here. I just can't trust Alex Perez. I mean, you never know if he's going to stick his head into something. His knee's going to blow out. Shoulder goes out. You never know with this guy.
Exactly everything you said. I agree with. It easily could be a live betting spot because Perez, he does have all the skills. He's great in the first round. He could easily win the first round. And the way Johnson fights, he drops first rounds more times than not. So, definitely a good live betting spot here. I have this weird feeling that he's going to find a submission just because he never gets submissions, but he's just long and lanky, and if they get into a scramble, it's definitely possible. So I do kind of, the sub is interesting, but if the price isn't great, I mean, that's probably not worth betting. But yeah, I like Johnson here, and like you said, I could see myself, if I already bet him pre-flop, I could see myself trying to get a better number live as well. So hopefully,
Johnson by sub is plus 360. Johnson by knockout plus 500.
Yeah, that just seems really strange.
Inside the distance plus 170.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I think he could find a finish. You know, Perez definitely gets finished a lot. And Johnson comes on really strong late in fights. So if he puts the storm on him, maybe he finds something. But yeah, I like Johnson. And if I can get a live bet on him too at a better price, you know, that's fine with me. All right, moving on to the light heavyweight division. We've got Nikita Krylov taking on Modestas Bukauskas. Krylov, I mean, he's becoming one of the worst chins in the UFC. I think he's been knocked out 6 times now. He's knocked out in the last couple fights. Bukauskas is a guy that's definitely got some knockout power. He's got very good striking, pretty well-rounded. But again, he's another one of these heavyweight or the light heavyweights that, you know, he's got some skills, but he's not an upper echelon guy, so it's kind of hard to put too much faith in him. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get a read on Bukauskas. Like, you know, I was out on him. You know, he was in the UFC before. You know, Khalil Roundtree absolutely destroyed his knee, kicked his knee out from under him, and just blew out his knee, and then he got cut. And then, you know, I was out from him from before the Khalil Roundtree fight. He was just low volume, didn't really do much, kind of boring, you know, and I wasn't a fan. And then, you know, he goes to Cage Warriors, he goes on a run in Cage Warriors, he gets, you know, he comes back to the UFC, you know, Vito Petrino put him away. And then now he's on a fucking 4-fight run, which is pretty crazy. But I mean, the competition is not great, you know. Pacquiao, Cachoeira, Kudalaba, and Paul Craig. I mean, that's not a great batch of fighters. You know, you're doing what you got to do and winning, but it's not a you know, a good talent pool to be winning from. But you know, he's a good striker. I mean, he's got power in his hands. He's kind of, you know, since he's come back, he's kind of shown a little bit more volume on the feet. He's kind of a little bit more exciting. He's going out there kind of throwing big bombs, kind of sitting down on his punches and throwing some power behind them. You know, I mean, he's done what he's had to do. He's looked okay. And, you know, Krylov, I mean, this guy, I mean, he's an all-action guy. You know what he's going to do. I mean, he's got, you know, the submission grappling is elite. If he gets down there, he's a really good grappler. He gets it down to the mat. His submission game is super elite, you know, if he gets it down there, you know, but he's kind of just more been kind of striking a lot lately. He hasn't looked great. I mean, since he had that layoff, he went on like a 2-year layoff and he came back. He's looked absolutely terrible. He's gotten finished in both of his fights. It's just like an in-form, healthy Krylov comes in here and probably runs through Bukauskas. Like,
yeah. And
it's like kind of like, man, I missed the early 9 because Bukauskas was like minus like 210 or 225, and you were getting a good juicy plus money on Krylov, but that number got absolutely destroyed. So it's like, man, do I really want to bet on Krylov when I think he might be washed and have no chin?
Right.
At like way worse odds than I could have got. I don't know, but I think he could win this fight because I'm just not high on Bukauskas. This is a tough one for me. This is another tough one, and it's like this could end in the first 2 minutes. You know, with the way Krylov fights, he leaves himself open to get hit with big shots if he doesn't land his own. You know, this is a tough one for me. I like violence here. I'll probably parlay the under. Put that in a parlay. I like the under here. I think somebody probably gets finished, whether Krylov gets caught on the chin or he takes him down and finds a sub. I think there's violence, but I'm going to lean Bukauskas. I'm going to lean that Krylov is just cooked and done and has no chin. Yeah. And Bukauskas finds it, sits down on one and cracks him.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I mean, I've tried to back these guys in these lower level. Well, I mean, Krylov at one point was a higher level guy, but at this point, this is kind of a lower level light heavyweight fight. And I've tried to back these guys that have been taking knockouts, and it just doesn't work out. They end up getting knocked out, and it's terrible. So I kind of feel that way with Krylov. 3-4 years ago, I'd be betting Krylov all day here.
Well,
But,
3-4 years ago, Krylov's probably like a minus 300 favorite, maybe 250.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So, but yeah, just you can't really trust the chin. Bukauskas definitely has some power. He's got good kickboxing, and like you said, Krylov does come. He throws everything behind his punches. He gets a bit wild. Kind of leaves himself open. So, if he does come in and he's in great shape and he decides to grapple, he could easily find a sub here, but I just can't trust him at this point. I think the knockout is pretty live for Bukauskas, and if I bet the fight, that would be the only thing I did. But yeah, I think Bukauskas gets it done here. All right, we move on to the middleweight division. We got Atiba Guadier taking on Andre Pulayev. Guadier, last I saw, he was like minus 1,400. Huge favorite here. Expected to get a knockout. Pulayev, he's got a good record. He's he's got some skills, got some good striking, but nothing crazy. And we've seen Gutier, however you say his last name, just flatlining people, and dude's got power. Minus 1,400, not much you can do with it. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, there's been some buyback on Puglia. Its number came down a little bit. It was Gutier got down to like minus 650. He's minus 800 now on Bet Online.
Oh, really?
So little money coming in. Yeah, little money coming in on Puglia. But yeah, I think this is just going to be I think he's going to fucking starch this dude. I think he's going to go out there and just fucking run right through him. It's we've seen what he's got. I mean, this guy is like a mini Francis Ngannou. I mean, but the striking is a lot more like crisp and sharp. Ngannou was kind of wild and threw a lot of wild shit. This guy's a lot technical, throws a lot. He's a fucking killer. Like, this guy touches you on the chin, you're going to sleep. Has he seen the drunk uncle? He to take a fucking beating with a baseball bat. The guy fucking hit him with an uppercut and sent him to fucking Jupiter. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like, these level of kind of guys, I think he just runs right through. Where he's going to face problems is, we've seen him kind of get taken down before, but he can, it's the grappling aspect that he probably needs to work on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Puliev presents no grappling threat. I mean, the way I see Puliev surviving here is the same way he did against Chris Duncan, where he kind of runs fucking the whole fight, just skirts on the outside, circles around, just runs. But I think Gutier is good enough to kind of cut the cage off, find that one big shot. And as we've seen, when Duncan actually went forward and started to engage at the end of the third round, he hurt him and had him ready to go. Like, you know what I mean? So I think Gutier knows what he's going to do. He's going to get right to business and put him away. Maybe he can run for a round or so, but yeah, I think eventually he finds that kill shot, and this is probably a mean KO.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was thinking is maybe he does that, and maybe a second round KO. It might be worth a look. I didn't see a number. I didn't have any numbers last time I checked, but I would be kind of interested to see if you could get a decent second round price. Because that would be
got it right here, 350
minus
plus 350.
Plus? Wow,
round 2 KO, plus 350.
Yeah, that might be
round 1 KO minus 170.
Okay. Yeah, that second round that might be a bet. Plus 350 on I guess you said minus 800 favorite at this point. So
yeah, I'm Bet Online, but see, Bet Online has minus 800. Bovada has minus 1,000. So
yeah, okay. I think when I looked on Monday. I didn't look at this fight for too long, so I didn't go back and check. But I thought it was minus 1,400. But maybe that was Umar that I saw. at 14. But I know he was at least like around 1,000. So, but yeah, I mean, either way, massive favorite. You're expecting a knockout, and yeah, if we can get it in the second round, that'd be nice. All right. So speaking of Umar at minus 1,400, here we are. Bantamweight bout. Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Davison Figueiredo. Davison, obviously a former champ at flyweight. One of the best flyweights we've seen in a long time. He's come up to bantamweight, hasn't had as much success. He's got the skills, but kind of a little bit undersized for the division, even though he was a big flyweight. Taking on cousin Umar here, who I was tempted to bet him at plus 350 to be champ at the end of the year. I definitely think he's going to have a shot to get a title fight by the time the year's out. But I mean, minus 1,400 that's a crazy line against Davison. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I would be worried about betting that title shot because you've got Merab there, and if O'Malley gets a win, you got O'Malley there. So
yeah, well, that was the one thing because Merab's definitely getting a title shot. And
if O'Malley wins, he probably gets a title shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, this fight is kind of I mean, Umar. I mean, yeah, I think he should be the favorite. This line is just absolutely kind of ridiculous. But I mean, like we know what Umar's going to bring. He's good striking, good grappling, good submissions. He fell short against Merab. I mean, he gave. Before that last Peter Yan fight, he gave Merab probably his toughest fight. He won the first 2 rounds, and then I guess he broke his hand, and then Merab just did what Merab did in the last 3 rounds and kind of, made him look silly and took over. But yeah, I mean, he's a really good fighter, really good striker, really good wrestling, has a lot of potential. Like, he could definitely be the champ. Like, I could see it. It would be a good matchup against Yan. Yeah, or if he fought Merab again, I wouldn't count him out in that fight,
Yeah.
But yeah, he's really talented, really up and coming, really good. And you got fucking you got Figgy, who's just kind of just he's almost, how old is Figgy? Almost 40 now.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
He's 38. He's been through all the wars, and now he's moving up. And he's had some good showings, like the Montel Jackson last fight. It's like Montel was like he's in. I don't know if it was because he was in Brazil, but I mean he fought absolutely scared, and that was just a terrible performance. And Figgy did what he had to do, and he got the win. But then I look at the Corey Sandhagen fight, and Corey Sandhagen just kind of ragdolled him and did whatever he wanted, which is, I mean, I feel like Umar could probably do the same and just take him down. And I mean, Figueiredo's always live for that one big kill shot, or he's got good subs, so maybe he can lock something up, but outside of that, I don't see a path for him winning here against Umar. I mean, though he's low volume, it's just I don't know. I think this is just kind of a layup fight for Umar. I think he does whatever he wants. I think he could possibly finish Figgy, but yeah, I like Umar. I got to decide how you're going to bet him. Maybe inside the distance. Let me see what that number is. I haven't really looked at that number. What's Umar's sub? Umar's sub is plus 190. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Yeah, the inside the distance. It's not up on this. Hold on. Let me see. We go to the bet online. Umar. Yeah, because I mean, what I don't know. How could Figgy win outside of a fluke knockout?
Yeah,
inside the distance plus 120. I don't mind that. The inside the distance plus 120.
Yeah, I don't mind that either. Yeah,
I don't mind that at all. So.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect Umar to, push that heavy pace, heavy chain wrestling pace, wear on him. And he's got good striking too. I mean, it's not out of the realm that Umar lands something. Obviously we've seen him drag a lot of his fights out, but Figgy getting up there in age, getting those injuries are starting to rack up. He got that injury against Sanhagen. So, yeah, I mean, feels very one-sided. The line would indicate that. But yeah, I think Umar wins this in pretty dominant fashion. All right, moving on to actually a really good fight here, featherweight division. Got Arnold Allen, who's been around forever. He's fought most of the top guys. Taking on Gene Silva, who he was came on like a barn burner and came out killing a lot of guys, looking amazing. On his way to superstardom. Had a little setback against Diego, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Diego Lopez.
And yeah. And but the guy's tough as nails. He's all blood and guts. He's gonna come out to put on a show. Arnold Allen's a pretty good technical fighter. He is pretty well rounded, and like I said, he's been in there with the best, and he's been up towards the top of the division for quite a while now, and just hasn't really been able to break through. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is probably one of my more up there at the top fights for me. I'm really looking forward to this one. I mean, you got two really talented strikers, two good fighters. John Silva came in, all the hype, like you said, was starching people, finishing people, talking shit to Bryce Mitchell. He's barking, he's doing all this kind of stuff, but and then like Diego Lopez, he kind of just ran into a brick wall where Lopez used his aggression against him, caught him with a just absolutely nasty spinning elbow and put him to sleep. After, that first round, it could have been stopped. Lopez had him mounted and was absolutely smashing him, and he survived that. And then he was having success in the second round, and he kind of just got too reckless and wild, and like how we usually fight sometimes, kind of reckless and wild, and he got caught bad, put away. I don't know if he lost some of his aura, because I've seen kind of here at the press conference, he had before he had a lot of fans barking with him and doing all kinds of stuff, and now it's kind of quiet. So maybe he has to go out there and kind of earn the respect back from the fans after the last performance. But he's a good striker. He's got power in his hands. He's good grappling, good subs. He submitted Bryce Mitchell. So yeah, he's a good fighter. I like Silva. There's just too much antics in there sometimes. The barking, the dancing, and the yelling, and the put your hands up in the air, and it's just betting guys like that just isn't I don't know. It's not something that's very good fun for me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And Arnold Allen, straight to the point, kind of just he's been off for a while, which is interesting. I think he's been dealing with some injuries and stuff. Yeah, but really good technical fighter. Kind of low volume, which is something But when he needs to turn it on, kind of like in the Giga fight, where he kind of started slow in that first round, he probably lost the first round to Giga, and then he was able to flick a switch and just start to just find his range. And when he lands, he doesn't throw any empty volume. When he lands, he goes to hit you. Really good technical striker. Good takedown defense. Yeah, this is probably going to be a war on the feet. I'm guessing. And I don't know. I'm going to lean with Arnold Allen here. I don't know. I have some kind of funny feeling. I like Silva, and I think he could win, but I don't know. I've been kind of having a funny feeling all week that Arnold Allen is live in this fight. He's fought a lot of tough guys. Max Holloway, he's fought the who's who in the division,
Yeah.
It's just the layoff that kind of worries you, that's worrisome. He hasn't fought in a while, but he has all the skills. I've had a funny feeling all week about Allen being live here. I'm gonna roll with Allen here. Gets the job done by decision.
Yeah, I kind of like it. He's he's very good. He's got all the skills, and Silva is a bit reckless, and Arnold Allen, he can capitalize on mistakes, and
a good counterpuncher too. So
yeah,
if Silva's walking in throwing wild shit, I mean, he can be the more clean guy and landing the bigger shots.
Yeah. On a card that feels pretty chalky, backing a guy like him, it's not a bad look. I like Allen as well. I think it's going to be a war, and I've seen Allen go to war against the best. I mean, he had Max hurt late in that fight.
Yeah,
and that's impressive in itself, and that's when Max was really running. I mean, I guess he hasn't really slowed down too much, but that was a good version of Max. So yeah, I mean, the injuries do concern me a little bit. He does tend to take time off quite a bit and fight through some injuries, but yeah, I mean, Arnold Allen, I feel like he's live in this one for sure.
Yep.
All right. We're moving right along here. Our next fight is in the women's flyweight division. We got Natalia Silva taking on Rose Namajunas. Silva, she's on a great run. She looks like she's primed for a title shot at some point. But taking on Rose here, who's she's had a lot more success at strawweight, but she's had some good wins at flyweight, and this is a matchup where really size isn't going to be a big factor. Rose usually kind of undersized at this division, but in this matchup, they're pretty similar sizes. Both really good strikers. Both can grapple a bit. Silva doesn't really wrestle at all, but she can grapple if she needs to. But this one to me is interesting. Again, the line is pretty wide for Silva, and I kind of expect it to be pretty competitive. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Yeah, I do think the line is kind of wide here. I would probably, Silva probably like minus 225 maybe. It's like she's minus 410 right now. It's like, man, it's kind of a little bit disrespectful. But Rose hasn't really looked the greatest in her last couple of fights. The Blanchfield fight where she came out hot, she won the first couple of rounds, and then she just completely gassed, which is something like you really don't expect from Rose to gas. And she just absolutely death gassed in that fight. She lost that fight. And then the Maverick fight, I think, Maverick had moments of success in that fight. And, if Maverick didn't get hurt, I think the fight probably could have been a little bit more interesting. But, Rose did what she had to do. She bounced back and got the win there. But yeah, it's like she's moving up, and she just hasn't looked great since moving up. She's kind of, the power hasn't really traveled up. She had good power down below. She was, searching girls, get head kicks and all kinds of shit. And, she's come up here and the power hasn't really, really shown. And the volume has really kind of dropped off a cliff. We used to know Rose as kind of a volume striker, pressure striker. But ever since that fucking one fight against, what's her name, the Sparza, she's just kind of like, where she barely threw a punch. It's just, she's kind of, the volume is kind of gone. She doesn't really throw the volume. The power's gone. I don't know, but she's still skilled and talented. She's got good grappling if she needs to go to it. But here, I don't know if she's going to have too much success because, Natalia Silva's on a run here, She's looked really good, impressive. I kind of doubted her in her last fight against Grosso. I thought the number was too wide, and it wasn't. She absolutely dominated that fight and did whatever she wanted. She's on a rocket ship right now. She's probably next if she wins this fight. And I think she's just a better, cleaner striker, more volume. I don't think Rose will have success grappling here. And, Silva's takedown defense is good. Yeah. This is hard to bet because I can't. Minus 400 in women's MMA, you never feel comfortable about it, and the decision is going to be like minus 200 to right. So that's not going to be great. Putting a parlay, what if she catches her with something, or or you never know. You know what I mean? At -200, you're laying a decision. You don't feel great about it. I think Silva wins. I don't like the number. I wouldn't feel comfortable taking a shot on Rose. This is a tough one. This is a tough one to bet. I think Silva wins, but I mean, I don't know what you really could do.
Yeah, I was kind of curious to see what the spread lines look like. I thought maybe take a shot on Rose, at plus 3.5, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think
-130.
Is it? Yeah, so that's not even really. I was hoping with the number the way it was, you might get like an even money or plus 110, something like that. So yeah, I mean that's kind of tough. I think it's going to be, obviously I think it's going to go all 3 rounds. And if Rose is her best self, I mean she's competitive with pretty much everybody. I mean, even in the Manon fight, like she had moments. She broke her hand early in that fight, so she kind of didn't have too much to offer, but she hung in there and made it pretty competitive. So yeah, I mean, you don't know what you're going to get with Rose. A lot of times, we've seen her mentally just kind of checked out at times, which is always a worry. So, I mean, I like Silva here. I do think it's going to be a much closer fight than the odds would say, but at the end of the day, I just got to roll Silva. All right. Moving on to another heavyweight bout. We got Waldo Cortez Acosta, who I just thought he was a point fighter. And then all of a sudden now he's getting knockouts. And he's taking on Derek Lewis, who that's what he does. He knocks dudes out. So, we've got Acosta, who's definitely the more technical striker, definitely, able to control the range better. But Derek Lewis is Derek Lewis, and he comes out firing, and one big shot from him will pretty much put anybody away. So interesting one here. Acosta, I think he fought 5 times last year, 4 or 5 times. Just fighting, it seems like every other card at this point. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, we got the knockout king versus the pirate. I mean, it's Waldo's went on a he's went on a run, like you said. I mean, I always thought he was kind of good, and decent. But he's really he's really shown it in this last little run he's went on. He's what, 4-1 in the UFC. I mean, well, hold on, let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think he's got like 6 wins.
6, 7, 7-1, 8-1. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, he's looked really, he's looked good, and like you said, he was like a point fighter. Yeah, he was just a boxer, really good boxing, really good hands, good volume, kind of nimble on the feet for a heavyweight. He used to be a boxer, used to be a baseball player, played for the Reds. So yeah, I mean, he was an athlete. I mean, he looked, he was I thought, and then the last couple of fights, he's just been absolutely, starching dudes like Ante D'Elia. That was a weird fight because he got poked in the eye. Looks like he got knocked out, and they stopped the fight. He takes the stool for 5 minutes, get back up, they restart the fight, and then bang, one punch, just kill shot. And then he flies in on like 2 days' notice to fight Shamil Gaziev, and absolutely just fucking deads this guy in the first couple of fucking minutes, which was pretty fucking impressive, And then he was, he was begging for another fight to get the record in the year, and yeah, he didn't get it, but he gets a big fight here coming in, against the Black Beast, who is 40 years old, but I mean, this is the knockout king, so it's like, yeah, sometimes Derek Lewis doesn't really come to show up. You see him like really not look good, but that's against guys like fucking guys that can grapple him and take him down and have some grappling success. He's kind of he's a fish out of water on the ground. You know, it's this ground skill is not non-existent. You know, but he can explode and get back up to his feet. I don't think Walto's going to be able to take him down and wrestle him here. This is going to be a striking bout. And, you know, Derek Lewis until the last second is just, he's always live to land that big bomb like in the Volkov fight. Getting absolutely beat the fuck up. Boom, the last 10 seconds catches him with a big bomb and just puts him away. You know, and this is what Derek Lewis does. He's not going to out-volume you. He's not going to really wrestle you, even though he can kind of take down. You know, he's shown some wrestling before.
Yeah, he's strong. He's strong as hell.
He's a big, strong guy. Yeah, explosive and strong. It's just, you know, he's low volume, but I mean, if he hits you with one, that's all it takes. And man, it's like I mean, Waldo should be favored. I think he probably should win, but it's like minus 300 on a standing fight with Derek Lewis. It's like you're not going to feel comfortable betting that, you know, no matter what, unless you think he's going to knock him out, which Waldo hasn't really. I mean, he's shown it recently, but that's not really him, though. That's not really how he fights. But could he come in and knock out Derek Lewis? I mean, it's heavyweight. Anybody can knock him out. But man, this is a tough one. I mean, because I like Waldo. I think Waldo probably wins, but at the money line price, I kind of got to roll with Derek Lewis. I mean, I don't know. This is a tough one for me. Like, I can see it playing out both ways, where Waldo's just popping that jab, just standing on the outside, just popping the jab, you know, and Derek Lewis is just eating a bunch of jabs and not really throwing much back. And I could see Lewis just catching him and putting him away. You know what? I'm going to lean Lewis here. I think the only bet here is probably taking the shot on Derek Lewis. I mean, if you're parlaying Waldo Costa at minus 350 or whatever he is, that's probably not the best of bets. You know what I mean? Yeah. But does he win? Probably. But I think money line, you got to roll with Derek Lewis here. Just one last shot with the knockout king.
I feel like that's kind of the way it is with Derek Lewis, man. Like
maybe just don't bet it, and maybe just play it in DFS. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, if Lewis knocks him out, you know what I mean? It's probably going to score well.
Right. And that's the thing with him. I mean, most of the fights he's in, you know, the guy he's fighting is definitely going to be able to outpoint him and be able to hit him. And, you know, if he's fighting a grappler, take him down, hold him down. Guys don't really do much to him on the ground, but, you know, he can be held down. He has that kind of that big, strong guy get up. Like, I mean, he does have the ability to get up basically against anybody. It just depends on how much effort he wants to put into it. Sometimes he waits a little bit too long, but yeah, I mean, Derek Lewis is Derek Lewis. And at this price, you know, I've won enough money on Derek Lewis to where I can afford to lose a fight. So I'll take the shot here too. And I'm a big Derek Lewis fan. So, you know, I want to root for the guy. So, I just think the line is just way too wide. That's just crazy. So if he gets picked apart, he gets picked apart. But I think I just think he can find a shot at any point, literally in the fight. So let's go, Black Beast. All right, our next fight is another bantamweight fight. Got Sugar Sean O'Malley making his return after a couple tough fights with Merab, taking on Song Yadong. Song is you know, he's a guy, he's been around a while. He was kind of a hot prospect, kind of had a couple setbacks. But you know, he's got all the skills. He's a very good striker. He's got some grappling. You know, he's a typical bantamweight, you know, pretty high level guy. You know, O'Malley, we know what he does. He's a high-level striker. He's got that range, keeps a good distance. You know, he can be grappled, obviously, but he's got better takedown defense than what we've seen in the Merab fight. And even in the Merab fight, like, he had stuffed a couple takedowns, and I was actually kind of impressed with him. And then, Merab just did what he does. But yeah, I mean, O'Malley, again, pretty decent sized favorite here. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, fun fight. Looking forward to this one. It's going to be, I think, primarily striking. I mean, we got, Song Yadong, you know what he's going to want to do. He's a really good striker. He plots forward. He throws, he throws volume. He throws big bombs, big shots. He has knockout power. He's going to walk forward. He's going to come forward, and he's going to make you fight. And he's got grappling. We've kind of seen him in the Peter Yan fight. Kind of used some grappling in that fight. He's got it, but it's like he doesn't really go to it often. I mean, he would probably be smart to try to implement it here in the game plan, but I think majority of this fight is going to be on the feet, and which I think it kind of plays into O'Malley. O'Malley kind of finally gets a striking matchup. They're going to, with Merab, a takedown artist, grappler. He's going to get, this should be a fun, entertaining fight for the fans,
Yeah.
We know what O'Malley's going to bring. He brings that precision, striking, lengthy range, good counter striker, good power. We've seen him knock people out before. He can hit that kill, that off switch on somebody. Yeah, this is a really interesting matchup. It's like, is O'Malley's heart still in it? We've seen him kind of talking about like he's kind of like, is he in? Is he out? He wants to get on the White House card. He's trying to, he's calling out for the title shot if he wins, which, I mean, it would make sense. I mean, he did beat Peter, and Peter had some success in their fight, kind of getting some grappling, going in that fight, Yeah, but Sean was able to pop back up to his feet. I just think Merab kind of just skewed the like. I don't think O'Malley's that bad of a grappler as the way Merab made him look.
I don't think he's that bad of a grappler, and he's got good jiu-jitsu. He's just he's fought guys like Merab. Or if you're a decent grappler against Merab, you look like trash. I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. So and I think this fight, I think Song Yadong's style is kind of just gonna play into O'Malley's hand, because Song, she's gonna plot forward, he's gonna throw, and that's gonna probably be perfect for O'Malley to kind of just stay at range, pop him with a jab, and counter him. I like Sean O'Malley quite a bit here to get the job done and bounce back. Song is a tough fighter; he's a really good fighter, but I just think the length and the counters, and is going to be able to just edge it out here for O'Malley. Yeah, I think so too. And Song, he does take a good amount of damage. We've seen him take, and he takes it. He handles it well. He survives big shots, and he keeps pushing forward. But against a guy with this length, it's tough, because the shots are going to keep coming. And I just think O'Malley's just going to be too rangy for him. And if Song does, try to grapple him, I think O'Malley will surprise some people with his takedown defense and his ability to get up. So, yeah, I just think this is a good spot, especially when you fight a guy like Merab twice, who just, like mentally going into that second one, I'm sure Sean, wasn't as confident as he would like everybody to believe. Because it's just you're fighting a steamroller. It's just Merab just keeps coming, and there's not much you can do about it. So I think this will be a little bit of a breath of fresh air. And I think some of that stuff he talks about where he's like, I don't know, maybe I'm washed, blah, blah. I feel like that's, as with all the O'Malley antics, I do feel like he's a pretty calculated guy.
I think it's just him trolling and him kind of trying to self-motivate himself and just being a troll. Like you've seen him do with when they announced Kayla Harrison was out. He's like, I'm the co-main event. He did that little skit or whatever. He's kind of just a social media young kid kind of clown kind of guy,
Exactly. And he knows what he's doing. I mean, he's a smart kid.
He's a draw. He's a popular guy. So
absolutely. So he knows what he's got to do to get the attention of the people. So,
and that's a pretty big fight. If he wins here, I mean, that Peter Yan fight it's a pretty big fight.
Big fight. Yeah, and I mean he's got that win, so he's definitely you might as well call him out and shoot a shot.
But all right, that fight too. Yeah.
What's that?
I bet O'Malley in that fight against Yan.
Did you? I think I was on Yan.
Yeah.
All right. That brings us to our main event. Another great fight. I mean, it's a Justin Gaethje fight, so how could it not be? Lightweight interim title here, taking on Paddy the Baddy. Paddy has been on a nice little roll. The guys he's fought, you can kind of say kind of over the hill, but he's made him look pretty bad. I mean, he's definitely looked like he's head and shoulders better than, Chandler and, Bobby Green. That was just that was just a jiu-jitsu clinic. So, Paddy's got all the skills. He's got good striking. He's got very good grappling submission skills. And we know what we get with Gaethje. I mean, the guy comes forward. He's powerful. He's strong. He can grapple. He's had problems with really good, submission grapplers, but overall he's a strong wrestler. He's got the skills on the ground. He's strong. Again, I think I said that like 3 times. But yeah, I mean, Gaethje's got it all. I mean, he's tough as nails. Again, he's getting up there. He's been through a lot of wars. Who knows, when that drop off is going to come, because usually it's a pretty steep cliff. But he looked pretty solid in that Fiziev fight, and here he is, shot at the title yet again, interim title, but title nonetheless. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, it's a Justin Gaethje fight, so it's going to be entertaining. There's going to be violence. I don't think I've ever watched a boring Justin Gaethje fight.
There's never been
a boring. Yeah, I don't think there's ever been one. The style he's going to bring. He's going to walk forward. He's going to throw big leg kicks. He's going to throw big power shots. Good striking. He has a wrestling background. He doesn't use the wrestling. And yeah, we've seen him kind of where his vulnerability at is kind of just his submission defense when he does get taken down. We've seen him sub, Charles Oliveira subbed him, Habib subbed him. When he gets to the ground, it's kind of like, he's like he doesn't. I think I heard that he doesn't even practice submission defense or jiu-jitsu, which is kind of fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of wild. If that's one of your biggest holes, why wouldn't you just drill that and try to improve there? Right. So that's an interesting aspect. Yeah, but he's always live. To catch you. He throws big power, even though he hasn't really been knocking too many people out. Like he's except besides the Dustin Poirier fight where he knocked him out with his legs, he hasn't really been knocking people out with his hands, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, he's going to bring violence. He's going to walk forward, and it's going to be an exciting fight. And Paddy's going to probably oblige and bring the violence too. Because that's how Paddy fights. He's the striking is good. It's pretty good. My concern with his striking though is when kind of he pulls back and leaves his chin up in the air, which is a little bit of a concern. But he's got really good grappling and really good slick back takes, really good submissions. If he gets to the back of Gaethje or gets Gaethje down, I think it's going to present big problems for Gaethje. I don't know. Yeah. I think Paddy probably gets the job done. I think Paddy takes him down. Maybe we get a little stand and bang early. Maybe Gaethje maybe clips Paddy, but Scalzo just don't get knocked out. And eventually, I think he gets a back take and finds a choke. I think Paddy finds a sub and puts him away in a war, which it could be an absolute fucking crazy fight for as long as it lasts. I could see a lot of scrambles, a lot of big shots being exchanged. I think it's going to be a fun kind of wild fight, and I'm going to say Paddy eventually locks something in, and yeah, it puts them away by sub.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I've seen it all week. Is because I do have those fights in my head with. Now, I mean, Khabib is Khabib, and Oliveira is Oliveira, but Patty's submissions are slick. They are slick, and
They're good. Yeah,
I can absolutely see this one getting to the ground, and that's being the path. If it doesn't,
or you
if
can
it
even
goes late,
ground and pound him. You can even ground and pound him like you smashed Chandler. Absolutely smash Chandler on the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, if this fight goes long, I think Gaethje might kind of be in a better spot. We've seen him in these
kind of
5-round
seen wars. We've seen Patty kind of slow down in fights, maybe a little bit in the Tony fight. He kind of slowed down in that fight, but other than that, I mean, he's shown decent cardio though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's got a bad cardio problem. I just think like the wear and tear of a Gaethje fight. If he gets the leg kicks going, like that could be a problem late. So it's be a good one to look at live and see, if Gaethje maybe is down a little bit, get a really good number on him. But yeah, I mean, overall though, Patty is kind of surging. Patty does have the skill set, and the grappling is the one thing that just stands out. And I think a sub is probably the way it's going to end. So I have to agree. I like Gaethje. I want to pick Gaethje. Gaethje as an underdog is always tempting, but yeah, that the submission is what scares me, and I think what could be the difference here.
Yep.
All right, so that's the card broken down. We'll look at some DFS here real quick. See if we can get a little core. I don't know if you had anybody in mind.
I'll let you go first. You go first, and then I'll go, and then we can agree on one.
All right. Well, my first thought is I don't like doing this, but do you think Umar is worth the price? It's almost 10,000, but he's going to grapple.
I don't think. I mean, unless you're getting to Derek Lewis, I don't see how he's viable. Unless you're playing Derek Lewis, I don't see how you get to him.
Yeah, so we'll avoid the top dollar there. So I think the first guy that I would trust the most at a pretty decent price would be O'Malley.
Okay. That's your guy.
Yeah, I'll say O'Malley to start.
I'm gonna go with.
It's hard. This is a tough week to start doing this.
Yeah. Because I'm probably going to take a lot of shot on guys that aren't comfortable down below.
Well, that's kind of where I was looking. Yeah.
I'm going to go Bukauskas.
Okay, I like that.
So we put him in. We got O'Malley. We got 8,200 left. Now we can agree on one.
Well, if you're looking to go a little bit safer route for a really good price, I would look towards Arnold Allen if you're looking to get a decent plug in here.
Yeah, that's not bad there. Yeah, so we go Bukauskas, O'Malley, Allen is our core three.
All right. So we'll do a core three for the first DFS core. I like that.
Yeah.
That gives you options. That gives you options.
Yeah, because you have 85-6 left. So yeah, I mean you could go big or you can build in the mid range or you can go up top and then find another dog you like. Yeah, I like that.
All right. So that's it. Do you have a play? Any kind of parlay you were looking at?
Well, my parlay leg was going to be O'Malley.
Okay. All right. What would I do here? Got O'Malley. Want something relatively safe, but I want to get a decent price. Thing was, I was kind of looking at Bukowski's KO as something that I thought was pretty good, but I want to
plus 140.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, I kind of like that because if I was gonna bet him,
okay, we put that together.
winning method.
Well, we're gonna start it off with a bang.
Yeah, I mean,
plus 260.
Plus 260. All right, O'Malley.
That's good.
Bukowski's KO. That's our show parlay this week.
That's the parlay. If you want to put that in the chat, or I can put it in there.
Yeah,
put that in the combat channel. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tweet that out. Get it on the old X account.
Yeah.
See what we get. I mean, obviously, if you're tuning in for this, you probably will be tuning in to the live show. We'll have a lot more action going on, but I think that's a good way to start. A little plus two something, and that's it. We'll see how these go over the course of the year. We'll keep tracking them, and that's it for the first episode of the year. Card starts. The main card starts 1 hour earlier, which is nice now that they're switching to Paramount.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't have too many streaming lag issues with it being the first card, but we'll see how that goes. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Yeah, it should be all right. And give us a like, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you on Saturday. We're out.
Laters.